In this lesson, we are going to be looking at how to become a better creative thinker. Creativity is the art of conceiving something original or unusual or generating ideas which are new and unique. Innovation is the implementation of something new or introducing something new into the marketplace. So how do you become a better creative thinker? How do you become a better creative thinker? There are people who seem to be naturally creative. They have it as a gift. But even if you are not that person, or you don't believe that you're naturally creative, there are things you could do to become a better creative thinker, to help you develop the skill of being creative. Now let's look into some of those things that you could do. Through observation, you can become a better creative thinker through observation. Become good at noticing little changes in your environment. We live in a very noisy world. For those of you that are based in a place like Lagos, you know that this is a very noisy and busy city. But for you to become a creative thinker, there are times where you need to just tune out, take out time, sit down and just observe your environment. Observe your environment. What is happening in your environment? How are the different parts of the environment interacting with one another? Take a look at animals. Take a look at people. Just observe. Observe. You begin to notice things that you have never noticed before. Even in your environment where you live, when you become better at observing, just taking time to observe, you begin to see things that had always been there but that you had never seen before. So through observation, you can become a better creative thinker. Through imagination, this is one power that every single person has. Once you are able to dream, you have this power. You have the power of imagination. Develop your imaginative power. Learn to dream and build things in your mind. Free your mind. Dreaming is free, but a lot of us don't use that asset. You can dream up ideas. You can create anything you want to create in your mind. You can become Superman, Supergirl, Superwoman, Spider-Man in your mind. You can go to abroad. You can go to the US and come back in your mind. So learn to dream. Learn to allow your mind explore. Use your imaginative power. And once you begin to tap into that power, you begin to see that a lot of the things that you imagine, your mind begins to come up with ideas on how some of these things can become reality. So through imagination, you can become a better creative thinker. Through exposure. I have friends who have stayed abroad, and when they came back, their mindset was completely changed. They became more creative. And you're thinking, how did that happen? A lot of the things that they thought was not impossible or were not impossible when they were here, when they went over there, they saw that it was possible, and people had already achieved those things, had created those things that they thought were impossible. So that expanded their minds and their understanding of what is possible and what is impossible. So you begin to see opportunities where you used to see limitations, especially when it comes to creating things, creating new things. So exposure helps you to become a better creative thinker, because when you travel and you interact with other cultures, you interact with new environments, it puts more ideas in your subconscious, into your subconscious. Like, oh, this is possible, this is possible. When you now come back to an undeveloped environment, you begin to see new things everywhere that you had never seen before in your mind. So through exposure. Now through experience, get involved and acquire practical experience doing something fun, exciting, and maybe scary through experience. Now, there's something that you pick up from experience, practical experience, that you can never pick up by reading a book or watching by reading about a skill or watching how a skill is acquired. You can only pick up this attribute by being involved, and that is the attribute of the feeling. You can't learn a feeling by reading it in a book. You can only learn a feeling or understand a feeling by feeling it. And the only way you get to feel is when you have experienced it. So practical experience enlarges your mind. You become a better creative thinker when you have experienced something by yourself. You know that this is possible. This exists. It's just like for someone who has never experienced the power of healing, supernatural healing, it is hard to explain it. It is hard to believe it. But if it has happened to you once, you know that this is possible. This is possible. So, through experience, you can become a better creative thinker. Like, there are certain things that I said I was going to achieve, that I was going to become. I said it. I believed it. And because I believed it so much, I believed that it was going to come to pass. And because I believed it that much, things begin to happen to validate my belief. I begin to take steps that I wouldn't take before. I begin to see possibilities where I never used to see possibilities. I began to engage with people that I would never engage before. I began to take risks that I would not have dared to take before. So, but because I have experienced it, I can say that it's real and it works. Because through experience, you can become a better creative thinker. Through curiosity, become interested in finding out how things work. I read it somewhere that as an adult, one time you begin to know that you don't know a lot is when your child begins to ask you questions. Many of us shut our children down when they begin to ask us questions that we have no answer for. You know, they see you doing something, behaving in a certain way, and they ask you, why are you doing it like this? And you have no answer. You're like, what's your big, do it like that. That's how it's done. Why? You know, many people don't like the why guy. That's the guy who is always asking why. Why is it like this? Why must it be done like this? Can't we do it another way? Be that person who always asks the why question. Why must we follow this pattern? Why must we craft our message this way? Why must we design our product this way? Why must we? Why? By the time you start asking the question why, you will find out that a lot of limitations around you are not real. A lot of those limitations were created by people. People who have no idea why those limitations are there. So, through curiosity, you can become a better creative thinker. Awaken your inquiring mind. Seek understanding. Now, through exploration, travel to places you can't reach physically by watching movies, reading books, and listening to creative people. There are certain people you will sit around, and by the time you are leaving them, you are a different person. You begin to see things that you had never seen before. There are some people that will sit down and they're looking at the sky and they are seeing so many things. You are looking at the sky and you're saying, I can't see anything. There are people that see problems, and when they come up with creative ideas, you're like, how do you think? How can you come up with these ideas? When you sit around such people long enough, you begin to also develop the ability to see things differently.